Hi, I'm sorry about that.
That's cool.
I can't go live on Liddy, so
What did you do now?
talk about the Muslims. Maybe a couple of Muslims, my Muslim following. I don't know. I'm just probably reported me. I don't know. And I know the other day, I just kept getting flagged, throughout the past couple of days. And I know the other day there's this Muslim that like one of my other Islamic statuses the other day, like somebody commented was pretty much saying that I'm being like judgmental and mean and stuff like that, and he liked it. And then I was like, not jokingly, but it's a Black American Muslim guy that always wear kufis, but he loves to eat chitlins. So back in the day, so yeah, like back in the day, I used to literally bark at him. I'm not a Muslim, but I used to bark at him like, how do you say you're a Muslim, but you eat chitlins and sausage and bacon? He always jokes about it and still proceeds to wear his kufi and everything. So when I wrote that comment, I was like, you still eating chitlins? And I put the laughing emojis and I was like, I can kill you. I don't know if Instagram literally took it as like, I'm going to kill him or whatever, but that was one of my like getting flagged or whatever. So, and then I try to accept your um, request, or I send you a request, both ways. And I'm not allowed to go live for 5 days. I mean, I haven't been allowed to go live for a year before. So in my journey of making videos or whatever, this is nothing new. It's just that this is the trending topic. I keep using that word. Like people think like I'm attacking Muslims. I'm not. I just don't like the trend because it's not sincere.
You gotta pick your spots. For real. Gotta pick better. But
So
okay, so I'm reading your boy RFK. I'm reading his agenda for the economy, and he
I'm
has
sorry. I've been trying to log into this other like I didn't when I was when we were trying to accept each other's request.
Mhm.
Did you read a different article at the other time? Like probably like 10 minutes ago or so?
Yeah,
Or
I
was
was
it RFK? It was different, right? So it was like I'm like in and out, so I didn't get a chance to like catch everything.
all right. So let me debrief you. First, I was reading about Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond was Joe Biden's mentor, supposedly the real Joe Biden, because I said I don't believe that this is the real Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody says he's racist. And, conservatives are always talking about, well, he was mentored by a racist and this, that, and the other. But then they'll say that, well, we don't need to expand the government. So I'm like, okay, well, let me look up why Strom Thurmond was racist. And so the biggest thing was that he did a 24-hour filibuster on the 1957 Voting Rights Act. And so I was reading just some of what he was saying about the act, and he was saying it's unnecessary because he said on the state level there's already penalties for intimidating people from voting. And so I was just like, yeah, that's pretty much sounds right. So what that said to me is it's not about the law, but it's about how the law is enforced. So having new laws on the books is not it's not going to do anything if the law has no teeth. So people are talking about gun rights, right? People are saying we need more gun rights. We need more gun rights, and it's so stupid because people with guns that commit crimes with guns, they don't follow the law anyway. So what difference does it make? So you know when politicians are talking, they're just moving their mouths, and it's just a lot of BS coming out. I don't.
Or things that are unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But RFK, he said he wants to make student debt dischargeable in bankruptcy and cut interest rates on student loans to zero. I can actually rock with that. I can actually rock with that. That's one thing that's on here that I can actually rock with. He said cut drug costs by half to bring them in line with other nations. I don't know how he's gonna do that because it's still government trying to regulate business. And what do we call that? We call that fascism. So I don't know.
I'm such a female when it comes to voting.
Why you say that?
I just felt like saying that.
But I'm just trying to enlighten people to what's going on. 'Cause I don't.
This is an additional thing of what I'm hearing of him saying, but like, when he talks about radiation, so far from what I've heard, when he talks about like radiation, when he talks about he's against the vaccine, even like when I shared like a snippet of the video when he was with Angie Stanton, and like, put it like this, if I would have showed the full video, or even like, put it like this, that video was like probably like 5 minutes. If I would have showed like, let's say 10 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever, um, it's funny, like when he was talking what he was talking about, like it was like in one ear out the other with all those predominant black women that were there, right? But
Yeah.
then when it came time to ask them, hey, what can you do for me, what can you do for me, then they woke up and started listening to him in terms of what can he do for them. And that's why I'm posting the way that I'm posting, because I don't like it. I think, like, I get it from a male's perspective. Men are telling me, oh, well, if Angie is using him, he's allowing it. But me, I'm coming from an empathetic area, and I just don't think it's cool. I'll even go as far as to say that, like, I don't know the statistics or the numbers of how many people want RFK to win. You really got people out there that's just on that Kennedy legacy, especially like in Massachusetts and stuff, because that's where that family is from. And you got people in Boston or the surrounding areas in Massachusetts itself that are kind of like, I love Boston myself. So the way that I know Boston or Massachusetts, it's like how I tell you that I'm like a 1960s liberal. Like the Kennedy family, even like JFK himself, like he was a Democrat president, but he has like conservative ways to him. And I can see RFK, like when RFK now, like when he likes to call himself independent. I don't know. I just get this vibe. It's in my feeling that I can see that they just have this like conservative ideology, but they were running Democrat, and that's kind of how Boston is. It's like, I don't know. I feel like a nice zone there, like when I'm there, because, like I said, I'm a 1960s liberal. They're pretty liberal in Boston. You even have that Chinese politician throwing a party like near the end of 2022 saying whites are not allowed. So it gets lefty to the far left, but you do have a nice liberal 1960s liberal, hippies liberal, the real liberal atmosphere to it. So like I said, I think there are people that want to go on the JFK, not JFK, just the Kennedy legacy. And I don't know what the numbers are for RFK. I know it's way lower than Trump, or hypothetically, if DeSantis was still in the right running, it would be lower than him. But I'm going as far as to say whatever white um like whatever white person is voting for RFK, maybe they're moderate, maybe they're conservative or whatever, if they go as far as to be like, we're not voting for him because what he's doing, with Angie Stanton and Boozy, and if they're like, hey, we're not voting for him because of that, I would understand them. I think they should be that way. I think they should, because it's degenerate what they're doing. And I feel like Angie is using him and playing games with him. She can't play that shit with Trump, but she can play that shit with RFK. To me, like I said, I'm coming from an empathetic place. I feel like that's evil, in my humble opinion. So whatever his white following or whoever is voting for him, I don't know how many it is, 300,000 compared to Trump's 5 million. I don't know. I'm throwing the numbers. I'm just, whatever. You could follow my drift. Um, Not Trump has 5 million. Trump has the world, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be shocked with his white moderate following for AFK if they're like, because RFK talks like he wants to make America, he wants to help America. He's not saying you're black, you're white, you're this, you're that. But Angie Stanton is gravitating him towards the black degeneracy. So again, if any of his white followers with a backbone is like, no, and then they see that she's bullying him like that because she's an aggressive black woman, I understand where they're coming from, and they should feel that way. So,
Well, I don't think that that's a reason to not vote for him.
is that witchcraft?
I I don't think that that's the reason to not vote for him. I think the reason to not vote for him is these policies that I'm reading because they're all stupid. Like his first one was talking about raising the minimum wage to $5. That'll put a lot of small businesses out of business.
Can you explain the math to that, or the just the whole being of that? so that everybody can understand?
Let's say you start a business, right? Let's call it um I don't know, Lydia's shoe store, right? You start a shoe store, right? You start Lydia's hip hop and shoe store. So you're a small fledgling business, right? You're trying to get rolling, right? And you're doing good for yourself. You're not in poverty anymore, but you need a little help, right? So instead of hiring a I don't know, a 14-year-old kid with with no work experience that can just do the grunt work, and you pay him like, I don't know, maybe like $8 an hour, right? Plus some commission. You pay him that, and you're able to increase your productivity to balance out his or her salary, right? While you can, so you have that freed up. You have that grunt work freed up, so you can do other things. You can scale up, right? However, if you have to pay him or her $15 an hour, you're not going to be able to afford that. So that's going to put you in the red. That means they're going to put you in the negative.
That's gonna knock me off my budget, like inventory, payroll, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera.
yeah, because the highest expense to run a business is overhead and labor, and you have to pay the overhead. You have to, or you don't have a business.
So
And
what's a good, like, all politicians aside, or I mean, of course we have to involve politicians, but what's a good middle ground for all of this? Like for the employer that's paying the employee and
mm,
the employee that wants more money. What's a good middle ground? Or just should the employee just go to college and get a degree and get a higher paying
hell
job?
no, hell
So
no.
just so people have an answer and understanding, like what's a good middle ground and what's a better way for all of this?
You cancel the minimum, you repeal it. No more minimum wage, and then you lower the working age. That's what you do. Because if you're working at Walmart is that's not enough. It's a low skilled position. That's not enough to sustain yourself and the family. So positions like that, you're gonna have to work harder. You might have to get another job, but you could always you can always negotiate because your labor when we work a job, we're basically in business. It's I forgot, it's a negotiation, right? Like let's say you have a business and I come to work for you. So what I'm doing, I'm selling my labor to you. That's what I'm doing. And the government is telling me that I cannot sell my labor for less than $15, which is the minimum wage that they want to save. So if you can't afford that, right? And I'm an entry level worker in the workforce, guess what happens? I don't get a job. So now I got to do something else. So that's what I'm saying. Like the more government regulation, the more strain it puts on freedom. So fast food workers can't be paid a living wage because most jobs are meant for young kids. Exactly. Exactly. There's no reason why you should be 30 years old working at McDonald's unless you're the manager. But how do you become the manager? You have to start somewhere. So that's why I'm saying lower the.
Start in your younger age, not a particular, like, just build your way up, kind of like the Hispanics. And I'm saying that I'm not like I'm not on my Archie Bunker right now, but like there's like in my neck of the woods, in my surrounding area, you have like Hispanic people that they'll start flipping fries and then they'll own a French fry. I mean, they'll own a franchise. Like they'll, progress. And some of them are in their 30s. Maybe they come here 25, 28, 35, but they have a plan. So I don't knock people. Everybody has a different plan. And I'm going to get back to that too when we talk about like women being shallow, and I'm gonna get back to this somewhat of a topic later on in the discussion. I don't judge people. Like, if you want to be 30 years old and you working at Burger King or Wendy's, like if a man tries to get with me, because I remember I did a live like 2 years ago before I started getting censored and stuff like that with Blanche and Shay, and they asked me would I date a guy if he worked at Chick-fil-A, and I was like, yeah. And then people were leaving comments like he has to be the manager, kind of similar to like what you're saying right now. And but you just never know what a person, like how many hustles a person has, and you never know what their ultimate goal is. That's why I don't judge men. I'm not gonna, like, if he tells me you work at Chick-fil-A, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna get with you, you have to make six figures. I'm just not that type of person.
No, nah, nah. I get, it's a noble attitude to have, but it's not wise on your part because you're in your 30s. I'm sure you have a child. You probably want to have more children. Two people come together, they're gonna get down. So more children are gonna come. So if you're working at Chick-fil-A making $7.25 an hour, that's not a good position to put yourself in. So it's not about whether he has. It's not about if if he works at Chick-fil-A. If my daughter met a man that works at Chick-fil-A, and he told her that, and I would tell her to ask him, okay, what do you do there? And he said, I'm the manager. Then it's like, okay, cool. But if he says, yeah, I'm the bus boy, now the next question is, well, what else do you do? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Someone make it that far in the conversation. I don't know if you want to touch base on that now or later. Some people just like, oh, he's a bus driver. Remember the whole Ebony Williams thing a couple of months ago, and
oh,
Ivania Ranzant, I say her name correctly, but whatever. Some women don't make it further into that conversation. What's his goals? What's his ambition? They're just like, oh, you're a bus driver, or you're flipping French fries, or you're, and I think that's very shallow. But somebody like me, I get told that I'm settling for less. So maybe I'm just better off being single, which I am. So I don't know. Because I don't know. I'm me personally, like, genuinely, I'm not a gold digger and I never have been, don't even know how to do it. So
um,
I just feel like because a man says he's a bus driver or he's working here or working there, he might not have the six figures, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have goals and dreams, regardless of whether he's 23 or 28. But I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm in a lot of positions that I am now, because I don't
well,
know.
hold on. A man has to be able to sustain himself before he takes on a woman.
That's true.
You can't sustain yourself working at Chick-fil-A as a busboy. You just can't unless you work in multiple jobs. So, like I said earlier, everything is about economics. Economy, how you distribute resources. What's the number one resource that we have?
At Chick-fil-A or a restaurant. I don't think that even exists at Chick-fil-A structure wise. I think that's more so out of, because I don't have so many types of job myself. So so let's say he's working at your mom and pop restaurant and he's a busser. That's probably more of a realistic scenario. There are women that have discussions with these types of men and the conversation doesn't get further. So who knows what he's doing? Maybe like I don't know. I don't know. What if maybe what if maybe he has a business that he's achieved and maybe he's just learning the ins and outs of a restaurant and he wants to own his own
Well,
restaurant.
he needs to say that.
Well, let the woman act, like, have that conversation further with him instead of her judging him. Oh, he has to make six figures, because that's very materialistic, and that's the conversation that we're about to get
It's,
into. So we have to break into the cracks. So
I don't. It's not about six figures, but if you're 30 years old working entry level at an entry level industry, which fast food is, then nah, you're behind. Like you need to do some catching up. So like if that was me and a woman
as a
asked me,
man or as a woman, so funny. This is just, I just want to see what the standard is.
okay, as a man, because more responsibility is on us. We're expected to take care of y'all and all that.
Hey,
So
Queen, what's up?
so if what I'm saying is that if you're in that situation, you don't need to be talking to women. You need to be getting your human capital up. You need to be obtaining skills, and or you need to be working like 60, 70 hours. You know,
He can't
you can't you
be polygamous.
you said what?
He can't have a couple of concubines and be polygamous.
Do you understand that concubines were for men of substance? You know, not of status. You know,
Be
they had resource. A concubine is a wife. Just she just her children just don't have inheritance statuses. You know, so her children get no inheritances. But a concubine is a wife. Like that's what people don't understand. It's just they're just a lower level of wife. You know, she's not the queen. A concubine is not the queen. She's just, yeah, that's my girl. Leave her alone. Hands off.
like she's just 2 6, like two, like she's like 3/4 of how. If he has 4 wives, she's like 3/4
No,
or 2/4.
no. Is she's a wife, but she's not. She doesn't. She's not the queen. She's not the. She's not the top.
She's not the head of the hierarchy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's just.
no,
You know, she's just. Hey, yeah. You said
Martin. She's
what?
not Gina from Martin.
No, she's not.
Episode
Yeah,
like remember the
yeah.
concubine West African episode
Yeah,
on Martin?
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not Gina.
Let me see what this. It says working 60 or 70 hours. How do you have time for self and family? You don't. You don't have time for self and family. That's why you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be going after somebody if you're working at Chick-fil-A. Well, I like what Joe said. He said people need to be taught skills in high school at least 2 years before graduating. I say we start specializing at 12 years old. That's what I say. Start specializing at 12 years old and lower the working age. A lot of this crime it will dissipate because many crimes, and I don't want to sound like a Democrat, but most crimes are economical. You know, people steal because they're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. But you know, I say, and Kuheen, what's up, Kuheen? And I say 12 because you know that's when like a boy becomes a man and a girl, you know, his puberty, you know, and all that. So instead of waiting till they're 18 to tell them you're an adult now, then you know they're an adult at 12 and they start learning all these skills and they're working side by side with a good mentor, and you know by the time they're 18 they'll be good. But you know we waste time and we waste kids' lives with high school. You know that's why I was saying that we have all these baby mamas because people you cannot defeat your nature.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Yeah, you're gonna want it. If you put men and women together with no supervision, with no rules, they're gonna get down. That's just nature. We can talk all this stuff about abstinence and all that. I mean, it's not feasible. We're setting our young people up to fail without by not teaching them economic principles. But even marriage, that's an economic venture. That teach skills to young people will allow for more people to be educated and give a trade, a skill for life sustain. Exactly. And that that way they're doing something. You ask a 15-year-old high school student now, what do you want to do? They're gonna say, I don't know. And I'm like, well, what are you doing now? I'm just going to school. That's a waste of time. I don't know.